Go.
Hi guys, welcome back to Skyline Stroll. Today we're going to be talking about building a more optimistic and positive mind and how to kick old negative thoughts to the curb and identifying the difference between good and bad positivity and how to actually implement more positive habits in each of your days. So let's have a good walk. So in today's walk we're going to be talking about changing your mindset and trying to become a more optimistic person, and where to start with that. You're going to start by learning to identify your more negative thoughts, maybe reoccurring things from your past that help you cope at a point in time but don't anymore. And you're going to start by identifying these negative emotions when they rear up, and instead of just getting caught up in them, you're going to want to just take note of them every time they're happening to start. And once you're in the habit of taking note of them, then you can start to implement changes. I've talked about counter sayings in previous videos, like when you find a negative feeling of your own, finding out what the counteracting opinion is and saying it to yourself after. But today we're actually going to talk about implementing some of these more positive ways of being in each and every day. And we're going to talk about identifying negative and positive optimism first. So toxic positivity, I'm sure that's a phrase everyone's heard by now, and pretty much if you set an unrealistic goal, an unobtainable goal, what's going to happen is optimism is going to stop being your friend. It's going to become a hindrance, because you're going to keep striving towards something you actually can't do. So if your goal is to fly to the moon and back, what you're going to find is you may not feel too happy or optimistic actually about your goal, because it isn't obtainable. So you have to realize that you have to take your optimism and positivity and cut it a little bit with some realism. Once you do that, you can have a balanced form of optimism that'll help you set realistic goals. And with that, the reframe isn't actually as much about changing your negative thoughts as it is about kind of changing your neutral ones. Like, there are 3 phases of life that we have every single day, and it's a positive phase, a neutral phase, and a negative phase. And when your life is in a positive phase, it's very easy to feel great and like everything's going your way. But when your life is in a negative phase, it can be very easy to get caught up in wanting to avoid more of those negative phases. So now we might start spending our neutral phases of life worrying about negative phases of life. And if we do that, what happens is our neutral phases now become an additional negative phase. So now instead of a third of our life being good, a third of it being neutral, and a third of it being bad, 2/3 of our life is bad by our own perception. So chances are your life isn't permanently cursed and terrible. You're just looking at the neutral phases of each day wrong. And to help do that, you want to stop thinking about what could happen in the near future and actually live in the exact moment in time you're in. Look around and ask yourself, is anything terrible happening at this exact moment in time or right immediately around the corner? No. So clearly you've now realized you're in a neutral phase, and instead of treating those neutral phases like they're boring or you hate them or like they're not good enough or like you're afraid of the looming bad phase, be grateful that you're in a neutral phase instead of a negative phase. And by generating that gratitude for the neutral phase, you will be more optimistic about normal, mundane parts of your life. You will feel more like, yeah, it's fine that I have to do this chore every day. It's just a part of life. It's no longer the neutral, the boring is bad. It's now more about the neutral and the boring are not our worst fears coming to get us in the middle of the night, so we should be grateful for the damn dishes. And on top of that, if you learn how to reframe your habits and actually treat neutral phases like they're neutral phases and then be grateful for them, they kind of become positive phases, and now the script has been flipped and 2/3 of our life is better than it's not. And some of that's just our own perception. Some of that I genuinely believe we will, with our decision making, with how we carry ourselves, with our energy, with what we do, these changes will allow you to get more of what you actually expect and want out of each day. If you actually are optimistic, if you feel good about yourself on the inside, not just out on the outside, then you're going to find a lot more things are going to go your way. Situations are going to be more open to receiving you. Many more doors will be open in a day, and your life will become more abundant without even trying. So just reframing to be a little more positive can be key. And in this world we're in now, it's so easy to get caught up in so much negativity. Like, there's drama on every platform. There's scary, apocalyptic things happening around every corner. There's the economy's going bad. All these different reasons that we can come up with to not look at the better parts of a day. All these horrible, big, scary distractions that we can really focus in on and not really change by focusing in on, but we can sure distract ourselves from ourselves with them, and they're not good. But at the end of the day, you still need to get up, you still need to take care of yourself and the people you love. So even if the AI is coming for your job, even if it's hard to find a date, even if you just don't believe in yourself, like, whatever the reason is, it's not enough of a reason to go shut up in your house and like give up on life. It's not a reason to give up on yourself either. So learn to accept that life is gonna have big hurdles, big obstacles, things you just can't do, and you have to learn to make the best life you can in spite of that. It can be really tricky to do, especially in the modern world. So many people get so caught up in negativity, and it gets proliferated online. You really got to control what kind of content you watch. If you're watching a lot of drama, a lot of hate-filled content, a lot of people looking to prosecute another group of people, any group of people, then chances are you're getting caught up in a negative thought pattern, even if you don't fancy yourself a negative person. It happens to everyone. So pay close attention to what you watch online and on TV, and ask yourself, how does this making me feel? And take that separate from the content you're consuming. Like, remember that you are not what you are watching. So that can be downright critical for maintaining a better mind. Control that content. Don't let a whole lot of negativity seep through it. And next up's in our immediate life, not in our digital life. With life being as hard as it is, people really are full of a lot of frustration right now, and they want to vent. And I get that. And I want to be the guy who lets people vent for me, because I want to help my loved ones, help them feel better. But the truth of the matter is, when you vent, what happens is it's like an old wound. Like, you have this injury and it itches because it's healing, so you scratch it and you open it back up. Now it needs more time to heal and itches more. And that's kind of how things are when you vent. You just kind of reinforce that negativity from whatever happened to you, and you kind of treat it like it's ongoing, not like it happened. And that kind of reinforces that this thing is like this big, reoccurring, looming problem. So when you vent, you're not actually doing anything great. You're kind of just transferring your frustration, your bad energy to your loved ones. That's what venting really does. And yeah, sometimes you should do it. When you're just absolutely at your wit's end, it makes sense. It can be a healthier outcome than some. So, and also, I'm not saying don't feel things like anger, frustration, sorrow. Those are all key emotions to building a whole person. You have to have each and every one of those things accounted for to make a whole person. So don't think when I say you shouldn't vent that I'm saying you shouldn't feel these things. Of course you feel these things. It's a natural reaction to the situation, but you kind of want to, in your own mind, to sort it out and say, it happened, it's over. And if it's ongoing and if it happens every single day and it burns you up because it happens every single day, then figure out what you need to change to make it go away. If it's you need to move or cut somebody out of your life or change something about your job, just figure out what step you can do now to make that change a reality. And then ask yourself at the end of each day, did I at least do that step that lets me have that change tomorrow? That way, even if I didn't get the day I wanted today and the life I wanted today, I can at least say, sure, but I took the steps needed to have the life I want tomorrow. And that will make you feel a little better. A more simple version of this that I kind of do is at the end of each day, I ask myself how proud I am of my own actions. And that will help me kind of gauge if I did what I actually needed to that day, and reinforces that I'm looking for my own affirmation inside, not from others. Like I'm trying to make me proud now, not the world around me. And because of that, that leads to my next point, which is going to be talking about comparison. When you first start making an honest inventory of yourself and don't like everything you find, it can be very easy to compare yourself to somebody who is like leaps and bounds further along at whatever you're wanting to change, and think, oh, I'll never stack up to that. I'm just embarrassed by the sheer gap in our skill that happens. And skill can be applied to anything. This can be emotional intelligence or a job you love. It doesn't matter. You can be embarrassed by a skill gap in anything in your life. And on top of that, I keep telling myself embarrassment is the cost of entry. That's one way I deal with that embarrassment. And then the other thing is, you have to learn to compare yourself to you, not the people around you. You are not the people around you. You have not lived the life they have. You do not have the body they do. You are not the person that they are. Therefore, you are quite literally comparing apples to oranges. Sure, you can say you're comparing humans to humans, but wow, that is really dehumanizing. So instead, the person you should be comparing yourself with is you. Am I doing better than I was a year ago? Am I someone that little 10-year-old me would have looked up to? Am I making the impact in the world I really want to see? And it doesn't have to be a big impact. We don't have to go build schools overseas for poor people to make an impact in the world. If you have a couple of people that really depend on you, you're making an impact. And if you can manage to go out into the world and generate a little positivity and actually like wave and say hi to people and actually check in on them and hold doors for people and stuff in a world where people are real closed off and bitter now, then I'd say you're making an impact there too. So try to adapt positivity even when the world really seems to shoo it away and not want it from you. And on top of that, try and really focus in on yourself, because that's the only thing you really have control of. This world is quite chaotic, quite hectic anymore, and the only place we can actually generate any real peace is on the inside. So try to find that inner peace. Learn that you can work on yourself and your own life, and that external things should be kept separate from you for a reason. And just keep generating that good positivity, that good energy in your life. And I hope that my next couple of videos will come out a little quicker. You guys have a lovely day, and thank you for watching another episode of Skyline Stroll.
You'll have to clip it, I can't stop it.